encounter. The poem's called Burma Makes Me Bad. We sat there on that boat, whilst the sun bled over the desolation of a country beaten like a mistake. The waters reflected atrophy, and the sky didn't exist any more than it did yesterday. Every day was broken, weathered by the corruption that erodes the beauty of the black, the brown, the red, and the yellow people of pale dominance. Here, in this sector of plasma TVs, reclining sofas and news at 10, that puts your feet up to watch the murder of genes, which is the genocide of generations of geniuses, regardless of gender, that genuinely wanted to engender a better humanity. In pathetic style, we show compassion. But there in Burma, in Myanmar, there was a thick desert that came from the seas once upon a time, and time doesn't leave, it only attempts to forget. But death is ubiquitous and tattooed, hunger is full, and oppression builds families that cuddle up only to evade the marching group of power. Outside, the poor people always have to suffer. Like a mother giving birth inside a manger of flames, burn with love, burn with indignation, and kiss the forehead of your dead child with ash. Mother, father, brother, living in merciless times that repeat in every country that champions its bloody art with trophies of skyscrapers or neat flags, or anthems that sing in discord over the moment a nameless hero flings his body in front of his sisters, letting the bullets reshape his chest and skull just so his spirit can ask death to spare her. The last one left, she breathes on with vultures eclipsing her son. Her brother left his still eyes in her memory, and that's what she sleeps with every night when a white man, sociopath, repulsive and indolent, opens her legs like the torn pages of a book she's already read. She knows how it will end, and she cries as he goes inside her with the heat and mosquitoes, throwing down the money at the end, feeling light and rejuvenated, closing the door, saying, "I don't know the Burmese for thanks." We were still sitting on that boat when a street kid, who was no older than the paper plane he had just made, jumped on. He wanted money, but the type that could buy him dreams, sold to him in magazines only foreigners could afford to buy. His frayed clothes hung loosely around his shoulders as if hope was a uniform slowly losing its grip. He winked like a pimp and asked if I liked hip-hop and McDonald's. I said, "I write poetry on bad days and don't eat chemistry." He wanted to know more. His mind a void that yearned to know substance, the dirt under his nails lending me their truth for a moment of empathy. And the dry blood on his lip made up the flavour of the only food he had ever tasted. I asked for his name, and he paused. The son was shot dead, and the reflection in his beautiful eyes opened the tyranny to history's longest funeral. My name is Nigeria, Rhodesia, Egypt, Australia, India and Canada, Cyprus and Sudan. My name is Red Cloud and Geronimo, Hototo and Castejo, meaning slave, meaning nameless in a history of names that lose recollection to a blank space of existence, dissipating back into the oblivion that fate snatched us from. With no thank yous, no songs, no God, just the departure from the time that never even knew we were here. He'd stopped, and I held back. Maybe a tear, maybe a curse word, maybe a scream, but probably a hug. And I said in the same tone that binds the voice of a person who's trying to reconcile somebody whose mother's just died, "I'm sorry for all this," burying my face in the last shadow of that old boat. Now, silence. As the captain boarded, we prepared to venture back into the ice fist, the kingpin of war, the mighty general whose heart has always been a gun, or a bomb, or a sword, or a whip. But I needed to know one final thing. How comes your English is so good? Holding his head high, he paraphrased Orwell, Burmese days, and said, "My father was a white man, my mother Burmese, and now both have left, both gone from me. Today I want to do good, but Burma makes me bad, and here nobody cares for us." When we die, people expect it's fine. When you die, people cry for many years. I know history, and I know what you did. I don't know the English for thanks.